Hey everybody, Michael back here again, and welcome back to PlayStation Homebrew News. So there's been several exciting things that's recently happened, and let's go ahead and jump straight into it. So the very first thing is that we saw that the PlayStation 5 12.02 was recently released, and in the release notes here for the PS5, we can see that it says we've made some security fixes to the system software. Now, this is commonly known when there is a vulnerability in the previous version, which is 12.00. So I did state today that if you are on that 12.00, I definitely go ahead and set up the DNS block where you can block this 12.02 update. Now this is especially if you went ahead and installed the Lua demos, and right here is the IP address for that. And I will leave a link to some information in case you need help getting that installed. Now with 12.02 for the PlayStation 5, we also got an update over here on the PlayStation 4 side of things, and we have now version 13.02, and this one, just like the PlayStation 5, they both say that they've made some security fixes to the system software. Now, Sony doesn't disclose what those are, but we know there's been a couple of adjustments to the recently released BDJB up to 12.02. So as always, I would advise that you do not update to any of these new versions if you are interested in jailbreaking. Next up, there was a message over here from Chameleon, and what he stated here was that a little bit of gaming on the PlayStation 5, and he shows a picture of Demon Souls, and we can see GoldHEN. And if you take a look at this image down here in the corner, you will see that is the frames per second counter that we currently have on GoldHEN for the PlayStation 4. Now, one thing that Chameleon did provide more information on was that he said, so we have no ETA, but as you guys see, Sistro is working on porting GoldHEN to the PlayStation 5, so stay tuned for that. So it'll be interesting to see GoldHEN being on the PlayStation 5. Now currently we are all using etaHEN, and etaHEN does have some of the very latest firmware support. We're still just waiting for case stuff for those higher level firmwares such as 10 and 10.01. Now, he also released a video of the frames per second counter in action. And if I just go ahead and play this one, and I'll zoom in a bit here, but you should be able to see the frames per second counter happening. And this is also the game Demon Souls. So it looks great to have a little bit of competition in that space, but right now etaHEN definitely has us covered. Next up, there was an update from Master_S9, which they have been releasing these backup images that you can just restore a PlayStation 5 to that is on a jailbreakable firmware. And it seems like this just continues to get better and better. Now, I will leave a link to my video where I reviewed an earlier version of this, but some of the new versions include other apps. In an instance, this one also comes with the YouTube app. And of course, all of the latest versions of things like itsPLK, which is what this backup is relying on. Next up, I've had a lot of folks ask me about PSVR2 and will that work with backup games? And well, the answer to that is yes, it is working. And we saw over here on Twitter that Speed007 said if you have a PSVR2 headset and you have a working system that is on 6.x to 9.x, you should get ready to play the best 2 VR games. And so what he is talking about here is Resident Evil 4 and over here Resident Evil Village. Next up, I noticed that if you are using Apollo Save Tool, and especially if you're using PlayStation 2 games, that they have just updated pretty much all of the GameShark codes for the PlayStation 2 to start working with Apollo Save Tool. So those PS2 gamers that is enjoying their games on a jailbroken PlayStation 4 can now start enjoying all of these game saves that were originally locked underneath GameShark. And the final thing that I will leave you with here today is that Hollow Knight Silksong has been fixed, and now this version works on all PlayStation 4s. There's no longer any of those requirements where you needed to use something like PS4 11.02. So now you should be able to fire it up and enjoy it. As always, I like to give you a lay of the land of where everything is currently at the moment. So let's just go ahead and begin with the latest jailbreakable firmwares, which is 10.00 and 10.01. Again, we can use double free or the lapse kernel exploit in order to get this to run. We currently have debug settings and etaHEN, but we do not have case stuff. Now over here you will see that the only entry point is going to be Lua, and there's been some discussions today about YouTube being a potential entry point, but I'm not going to talk about that at the moment because it really hasn't been fully fledged out. Now the next thing you'll see is for 8.00 all the way up to 9.60. Here we have case stuff currently working again through Lua. Now going up one to 6.00 all the way to 7.61. Now on this one we can use the UMTX jailbreak, which means that we do not have to use Lua like we have to use on versions 8.00 all the way up to 10.01. So if you are on one of these firmwares right here, then you can just write a BDJB disk using any Blu-ray burner, and you do have access to things like etaHEN as well as case stuff. Now the most popular entry for this is using Victorious's all-in-one PS5 jailbreak, and I'll include a link to that in here. And then for the rest of these versions here, you can pretty much use WebKit in order to get your system exploited. As always, I will leave a link to this chart where you can take a look at it in your own time. Next up, you might have heard about this new PlayStation 5 Slim Model that is currently out, and I was very impressed after watching this video by Austin Evans, where he stated the PS5 Slim is actually worse. But there's things such as here is the old Slim model and here is the new one, and Sony's going for kind of this matte finish on the new one versus the old one being a bit more shiny. And in another part of this video, what you'll see is that he weighed all three of the systems, and he found out that the PS5 Fat model was 3,800 grams versus the original Slim, and then of course you can see how much smaller this brand new Slim is that he's talking about. One other thing that was called out in here is that the brand new PS5 Slim model only comes with 825 gigabytes. So here is what the brand new Slim looks like. Out of the box, you get 646 gigabytes of free space versus the original PS5 Slim, you had 848 gigabytes. Anyways, there's a lot more information in this video, and I definitely encourage you to check it out. Anyways, things have been a little quiet in the scene here recently, but don't worry, I'm still watching everything as it comes out, and I will keep you updated if I find something worth sharing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.